Yep.
Want to start?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Conscious Community Connection, where we keep the community connection. Me, Alicia, and the brother Laurice, one of the good brothers on the show tonight. We're going to spend some knowledge of education, Black history, the importance of it, why, and a lot of other stuff we're going to go talk about tonight. It's going to be a long, good show. So I hope that everybody ready to have a good time tonight. Alicia, could we get disclaimer, please?
Yeah.
Is it echo? Is it echoing like bad or?
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to mute your mic. So, like Kiki said, this is Conscious Community Connect, where we keep the community connected. Rest here are those speakers and not representing R or WRFU, CU, IMC, or any socialist form. So we are here this evening with Laura, and he is here to speak about Black and the importance
Oh, the
of it
camera
and
working.
why we need to uh, educate ourselves about Black history. Is the camera working now, Kiki?
You got a, who phone you got Laurice phone?
This is my phone. Laurice is on the computer.
Oh,
Yeah. So, so Laurice, you want to talk a little bit about Black history and the importance of the education of it?
One of the things we had a couple of questions that we were going through, and I don't know what Kiki got some of the questions. So pretty much for us to discuss and dialogue and go back and forth on, pretty much what we all think about it and how we feel about it. I don't know what the first question was, but of course it is uh, Black History Month, and I don't know myself, but what about you guys? Is anybody making any importance of Black History Month here in our community?
I just, me personally, I don't know, man. I don't get up to Black History Month, by me being more Science Temple America. So I don't celebrate anything I do with black as describing us as the people over my teachings. So, but I do respect the people that are involved in the month, like the Harriet Tubmans, the Fred Hamptons, the Martin Luther King, the Malcolm X, uh, what the lady named that been the straight cone? I ain't good with names, but I respect all the great entrepreneurs that involved in this month and what they did for it to pay the way from the Jackie Robinsons to to the Muhammad Ali's to the great Joe Johnson. Jack Johnson. So it's a great month. But I got a question for you, man. What you think about the education of today?
What Alicia? Alicia, she didn't say. Well, on the thing she
Oh,
did, on the thing she did Allah. So, uh, have what she think about what she heard about Black History Month in our community.
What I think about in our
Yeah,
community?
or have you what have you heard that we have going on in our community?
Well, there has been some um, grassroots um, programs here uh, has been that have kind of voiced out like media about the awareness of Black History Month. I haven't really specifically heard of any Black History like celebrations. We also have to take into consideration though with social distancing and the whole pandemic right now that I think people are kind of not wanting to do a lot of celebratory things like that. So I haven't really heard of any other types of ways of like uh, spreading any type of, you know, education about it, as far as just, posting educational things on Facebook and on social media. So I don't know. There was really nothing. I'm going to tell you what, there really hasn't been much going on in the school as far as I'm aware. I didn't. My daughter didn't really speak of anything, any type of special Black History um, things going on either. So you're muted.
The Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like my son with the remote school reality, it was it wasn't much being spoken of, but more to Kiki said something about he didn't celebrate Black History Month, and you mentioned you mentioned a particular teaching. What I mean, why would that hinder? What about the history, the history itself of Black History Month? What about that? Where did Black History Month come from?
I, honestly, I really can't answer that question, the history of Black History, but because all I know, they started teaching us in school, and I never paid attention to it.
I
You see what
never
I'm saying?
I never understood the
I
necessity.
never understood where it came from either. I really couldn't answer that. But like I
Well,
said, I don't represent nothing that got to do with black as our people because black is a sign of destruction, and we not black. You know what I mean? We Asiatic people from Africa.
well,
So
why do we have to designate a specific month out the year for something that
you say what?
American history?
No
What
fact. I can't hear you, folks. See, my phone breaking up.
I said, it's not Black history; it's American history, and I never understood why we had to designate a month out the year for something that is should already be part of the norm.
Because it teach separation. This country is about separation. Everything is about separation. They put you in groups. They think you're supposed to follow them guidelines in certain groups. Instead of having one race, the human race, everything's separation. You gotta be African American, Chinese American, European American. You gotta be a Democrat. You gotta be Republican. You gotta have some type of title. You gotta be a Baptist or atheist or,
Well,
or
well,
Christian.
let me touch on this. Is it important for the Latin community to represent their history and their culture? Is it important for a, if you want to say, a Jewish community to represent and uphold their culture and their history? Whereas I just heard you two say you really didn't touch on it. Like there's a particular teaching that caused you to go away from completely to say I don't celebrate it. And then Alicia mentioned that she hasn't heard much from her daughter. But it's you guys' history, it's our history. Where is your importance at and our responsibility to who we are and our contribution? You just said human race. Where's our contribution in human race? Isn't that black? Shouldn't that be black history?
Yeah,
I
but
think
I
gonna
teach
give
black
me.
I teach Black history to my daughter every day.
That's what I'm gonna say. I think you should teach every day.
Yeah, it's an everyday thing. I'm proud
Every
of
day.
every single day. I say it loud and proud every day. I need 1 month to say that. It's a life. It's who I am. Live my life because I'm proud of myself. So, I, that's been the confusion about it for me. And you're right. It's not just with the Black culture, it's Latino culture too. Like, you know. So in that, it's is it do we need to have a specific month for Black history? Apparently, yes, because segregation is still here, and that's how the society is set up to where things are so segregated that Black people have a month for the rest of this um, nation to acknowledge this. Then I guess that's what, if you think about it, that's still that's still sad that you're here. This is your 1 month to be proud of who you are. This is your one that we will tolerate your pride and your black and your brownness. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. I hear you. Now, what about, do you say that during Valentine's Day? Do you
What
accept that? Do you accept that when you say, "No, hun, I love you all the days. I don't want to just celebrate you this one day. I celebrate you all the days. So I don't want to. I shouldn't have this one day that I have to buy candies and flowers or, well, I don't want to have to worry about what I'm thankful for on this day, and I'm not going to eat because I'm thankful every day. If we can do that on holidays, then why wouldn't we take the time out a month? Because we do have a vast history that many people don't know, that many people
Okay, to stop you.
don't recognize.
Okay, to stop you on that, right? So, so can you teach that vast history in 1 month? That's a decade, a lifetime of history. So you can put
No,
all that in 1 month.
now let me now let me say this. You're saying, is that a reason for us not to acknowledge it?
I
No,
didn't say that. I didn't say
the
for.
answer is no, you can't. But is
Yeah,
that a reason? Because I'm talking to two very educated people, two very well in the know people, and y'all both said y'all didn't know much
About what
pertaining to Black
community?
I mean, I
history.
don't know much to say.
Let's
I
say
don't.
the start. Who started Black History Month?
I don't know. I don't know the history of Black History Month.
Not, no,
Honestly, I
not.
don't.
But so, Alicia, you said you didn't know how it started, right? It started as a week, started as Negro History Week,
Hmm.
and the great historian Carter G. Woodson started. And somebody went to a month, but we'll take that month. We go, I'm going to take that month because there are other days that we are not acknowledged, that is not designated. And although, like you guys said, yes, I'm going to teach, I'm going to educate my child. I'm going to be, I can't just be something within a week or a month. Yet, where is the, if you want to say, not just the pride, but where is the responsibility to say, hell, I'm not gonna not go to work because I'm a hard worker every day. I don't need no. It's just like what's coming up next month, President's Day, right? Of course, we should acknowledge our presidents, consistently, but we're gonna celebrate them. What is that? The second? Is that it? Is that's
I
coming up,
don't know.
right?
Don't give me the line.
I wrote,
It is. It's coming up the second. But and you should have a day off that day.
I think
You're
President
not
Day already
you
passed.
but you're not gonna be beating that door down, talk about, no, let me in here. I respect my president every day.
But see, I think you misunderstanding. I can't probably speak for both of them. I think you misunderstanding where we coming from. We saying we're not gonna wait till 1 month, 1 month come around and celebrate, tell you about people that's been doing stuff that created this path for us. Because without the Martin Luther Kings, without the Malcolm X's, without the Prophet Noju Ali, Marcus Garvey, Fred Hampton, Huey Newt, Harriet Tubman, all the greats, we wouldn't be here. So we saying, why you gotta wait till 1 month and just try to get all in 1 month? Why we just can't every other day teach your people something? You got the Civil Rights Museum in
Yeah,
Memphis.
yeah,
You got that down there. You got
exactly.
you got stuff in Birmingham, Alabama Museum. So why you got
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It should be a continuing ongoing. But it's just like the election. I'm gonna put the election with it. Everybody wait every 4 years want to promote elections. But you got elections that go on now, like in your city, in your town that really count. The president
Yeah.
election count as a point.
But why put up an obstacle and say, why should I have to have a designated month? No, because you do have one. Because there used to didn't be one at all.
well,
I
no,
respect that.
I'm not saying take it away because it needs to be
Nah,
there.
me neither. I don't know nothing about it. And I never really got into it.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be there because you're right. If it's not there, then it'll be nothing. No,
Yeah.
I'm not take it away.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that we should challenge, as a Black race, we should be challenging ourselves to go beyond that, and it shouldn't just be the. It should be every day.
Absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
for the record. I honestly don't like holiday. So I have I say 10 things I'm grateful every day and thankful for every day, and I don't care about Valentine's Day. I don't like holidays. So I mean, it doesn't matter to me personally. It doesn't
Now,
matter.
this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going
I'm
to say to that.
proud of the way you live
Right,
life.
right, right. Now, you say that, but we do not say that with Mother's Day. We don't say it with Father's Day. We have designations and we take those designations and we want those designations. Now, because we could just go on and on and on.
Yeah, I'm trying to holiday.
Yeah. We can go on and on and on.
I'm wild of that.
But I'm kind of, if you want to say, not confused because Kee-Kee said his teachings. He said his teachings allow him not to celebrate anything
Can't deal
that's
with black without people.
now. What do you mean by that?
Like black, what is black?
Now, well, hold on,
Yeah, that's what I mean by it. So I'm breaking
hold
it
on.
down to you.
What I said? What do you mean?
What I mean by that, I don't look at it as Black History Month. I look at the month's education for our people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't call it
Yeah.
Black History Month. I call it a month education for our people, the Asiatic
So
people, the original man.
so every time that we do that, every time we change up, we want to. It's called Black History Month, right?
Yeah.
But we know that it's about a particular people in this diaspora that have been pretty much the identity has been taken away from. You're a pretty knowledgeable brother. Do you let your knowledge, do you withhold your information because of the name?
No, see, that's what I'm saying. No, I don't do that. I just don't put the Black History Month on it. I put the month, the celebration of our people. You know what I mean? I acknowledge our people in that month. You know, people bring me things. You know what I mean? I listen, watch certain shows. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't say black
Okay.
when it
Does it
when I identify our people.
does it bother you guys that we don't have more if you want to say culture
Yes.
on that because it's up to the people. These things derive from the people. And so I see a lot of Black Lives Matter postures, but I don't see a lot of Black Lives Matter education. And that's something that I wanted to touch on based on how do we do that? How do we get the proper education to not just the community? Let's just say the youth, right? How do we get the proper education to the youth in this day and time, even in the time when it's our month and we still not getting much importance, still not getting much care on who we are.
I think, man, you got to start. You see, the first mistake is we talk at children instead of talking with the youth. You got to understand the youth, man. You got to give them understanding instead of just trying to make them. Well, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to break it down to them the purpose of the understanding of the education you're trying to give them and what to help them move forward about the sacrifice people made so they can do the things they're doing. Instead of just drilling in their head, you got to do this. You got no. I think you should read this. I think you should try to understand this. See what I'm saying? You break it down to the youth, man. You because a lot of education toward the youth is talking at them and telling them what they got to do. And we at an age in this 2021, these children rebellious, man. If you trying to make them do something, they're gonna do direct opposite.
Right.
So the best thing to do is you got to get understanding and talk with them and ask them their feelings and what they understanding about. I was looking at a live the other day and the sister was on there. She was talking and she asked a lot of people how many people heard of Fred Hampton before the movie came out. You know how many people said they heard of Fred Hampton before the movie came out, including myself. 4 people and there was 300 people on that live. You know what I'm saying? So and sometimes people then you got a great understanding with these people where I ain't gonna talk to them, they ain't gonna get it anyway. No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't go in. You can't go in there with that. You give
Right.
it to them, and if they pick it up, they pick it up. But your part is to give it to them.
Right.
It's
Well,
the way you give it to them.
what does the grand teacher have to say about it? Because what did the mother got to say about it? What you say, Alicia? How do you approach being a mother? How do we, in your skill set, you have the natural ability, the creator given ability to hone in on taking care of what's yours. How does a woman, how should we get a feminine mindset of how to educate these babies? So what do you think?
Well, I can only speak for myself. I can speak for women everywhere, but I'm going to tell you how how I was. It was something that was indoctrinated in me when I was a so my father definitely taught me, and so I knew it, kid, then my daughter, and as I was very interested in who I was, where I came from, my roots, my father's roots. I always did research on that and tried to understand that a little bit deeper. And whatever I learned, I just gave to her through lessons, with just regular parenting advice and lessons, things that you have to. My daughter's going to be 18 soon, and so things that we talk about a lot now about what it's like to be a woman of color, or what are you going to be looked at? How are people going to perceive you here in this town? Um, let's talk about how you should hold yourself during it at a job interview. What is appropriate? What does a woman of color need to do appropriately at a job interview? Those types, because you have to make it. And although it doesn't sound like that's history, but it is, because you have to make whatever's in the past connected to what you can do here in the present. Does that make sense? Because I've noticed that with children, they don't necessarily understand what the past represents in the present, and they don't, and at times they can't quite make the connection that the present will affect your. So you have to kind of take those morals and those teachings and those skills, or that understanding and learning, and put it in somehow connected to the present. Does that make sense? And I think that with school, like with our, we have a curriculum of what history is, and our kids are learning that history because they have a reason to. There's a motivation, incentive to learn it. If you don't learn it, you fail. If you fail the test, you fail the class, you fail out of school. So there's motivation to learn and become indoctrinated in a particular way. So if that's why I'm saying we're going to teach our own youth, we have to do it when they're young, and as a child, because otherwise, like how, the motivate, how do you get them to be motivated to learn?
Yeah.
How do you get them to be motivated? It has to start young, because unless we're putting it in school systems and saying that if you don't learn it, you're going to fail, they probably won't.
Here's a big question. Who's responsible for that?
For the putting it in the schools,
Not just the schools. Who's responsible? Because let's say Unit 4. I grew up in Unit 4. At present, my sons go to Unit 4. Um, who's responsible for teaching my history to my children?
I feel like I've been saying, it it always starts at it always starts at home. It doesn't matter that you send your child to school how many times, how many hours a day, how many times a week. It doesn't matter. That teacher is not the parent. So what you teach at home is really what is sticking in there more than what the teacher is doing. You get what I'm saying?
So, so I think the question would also be, do you think that that has your child ever come home with something you haven't necessarily showed them?
Like from
They've
like,
gotten from school. They've gotten from a friend.
oh yeah, all the time, all the time. Like it's, I mean, in a variety of uh subjects. You know, I don't know everything, so I mean, there's gonna be things that she'll pick up at school or from out, like with her friend. She'll bring it home. Some of the times it's right. And I have to Google it to make sure. Oh, is that okay? That is right. Otherwise, it's completely wrong, and I have to correct her on it. So I mean,
Right.
we had conversations in class and in school about race in her classroom. Haven't really been comfortable with the conversation that she had in her class. She'll come home and she'll kind of tell me like discussion. Yes, I'm being objective, and that's her perspective, and that might not actually have happened the way that it did. But what rubs me the wrong way, and I'm completely honest here, is if the teacher is white and they are running the classroom and they're talking about racism, I get a little irritated because if I feel like the teacher themselves haven't dealt with their own white privilege, or don't know enough about Black history or the oppression of Black people themselves, and I feel like they have no reason to be teaching a classroom of children on that particular subject. And so that just kind of goes back to um, you need to be able to teach it in your home because they're learning this stuff and they're not learning much of it. But what they are learning of it, it's probably from the perspective of a white person, probably book, a white person probably teaching the class, and so you want your children to learn the truth about who they are, where they come from someone that
So that's a
identified.
good question too. So what do you teach then? What do you teach? There's so many black postures.
Like,
There's so many in the sense of going back to the civil rights movement. Counter to the civil rights movement, there was the Black Panther Party. There was the Nation of Islam's.
so what I start with is what was me is to start with the situation and then try to go from there. Like I was saying, we talk right now. We're talking a lot about um, what an appropriate job interview looks like because and we talk about this because we understand, or I understand, and she also understands that this is connected to systemic racism. This is connected to institutionalized racism. Why she is looked a certain way in the job force, why now she has to um um I want to say be mindful of the action. You're
I'm
muted.
sorry. Why can't she just be a hellified interviewer? Why can't she just be an educated woman or a qualified
Because
person for the job? Now, when you say systemic racism,
what you
because I don't want to get necessarily into the the problem. I want to get into the solution within our house of properly educating ourselves.
the only, well, like I saying, you have to understand what you're dealing with every day. If you're like when you are at work, you have to understand what this racism is. Understand what you're navigating.
Yeah,
That's
you got.
important. So for me, it's teaching her how to navigate through it. She
Cause
can't
you got to teach.
still be a qualified. Look, let's be real. You can be qualified all you want to. You can be a wonderful, dynamic interviewer, but if you have brown skin and you're too much of that, you might be considered too intimidating and too much of a threat. That's the truth.
You
I'm
got to teach her the problem before you get to the solution anyway. Because you got to realize that her skin is the problem when you go into jail. You got to teach her the problem.
I'm not
So I
telling.
agree with you, Alicia. I agree
Not,
with you on that.
yeah, I'm not telling her, trying to teach her to modify herself. or dilute
Yeah.
it. No,
Nope.
but just to be aware of it, because what will happen is when she, if she, the times that she will get rejected, and or if she gets the job, she feel a little snubbed on the job.
So let me say this. Do I show up?
It's
Do
not
I show? Let me say this.
You gotta read the disclaimer, Alicia.
Do
okay. I'll go
This
ahead.
is the conscious community connections. We we keep this community connected.
No,
This is
not that disclaimer.
WRFU 104.5 Urbana Champaign. The views of those of the speakers are not intended to represent WRFU, UC, IMC, or Urbana Socialist Forum. Okay, is that good? Now, the, but this is the thing. I'm not talking emotionalism because that's what we're getting to. Do I show up to a basketball game with a football?
No.
What do you?
So, hold on, wait. And so, unless we're going to form our own system, you're going to conform. You're going to conform, whether you're the African of the continent, whether you're the European of any nation, Chinese, Japanese, you're going to conform to a system. When you go on a job,
Mhm.
ask you, they request of you, you don't have to do it. They said, we like you here 20 minutes before your shift. Can you do that? You have the right to say yes or no. They don't necessarily always ask, oh, okay, I need, it's not casting like a movie. I need a black woman that does A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's obviously Kiki's not going to be able to do that job if they ask for a black woman, right? Because he's a black man. Now,
Asiatic
in,
man, brother.
in the sense of, now, when I say that, the reason why I'm saying black man is so that the listeners and everybody knows the most common statement for a Moorish individual is a black man at this time. Because that's what I mean, the proper education. What education do we give them? Do we give them that we're the Asiatic man? Do we give them that we're the Moorish man? Do we give them that we're we're Hebrews? What is the proper education
You
for
give them
our
the truth.
people?
The publication is the truth. Your truth is the proper education. You teach them the certain things of man self-preservation. You teach them the truth, man. You teach them that as you coming up as a young Asiatic man, or whatever we want to call it, a young man of color, whatever, that you got obstacles to face. They're gonna look at you. You got to strike against you already because of your color, your
Do
skin,
you?
your tone, your skin. Yeah, you know we do.
Do I?
But you
I
got to
see.
learn.
Who is that? Carletta say, yes, absolutely.
Who said that? Who?
Somebody that's watching. I believe. I
So,
don't know if I'm saying it right.
oh,
Coletta. It looks like.
but so you
Carl.
teach them, but you teach them how to move within this system. The perfect example is the spook that stepped by the door. You read that book, Invisible Man. You read them
Go.
books.
Whoa, whoa.
What?
Now, let's say within the system, is that extreme, Kiki? Because you're saying a lot. You're saying a lot.
And yeah, your life is
Hold
extreme.
on, wait. You're saying a lot, but sometimes we can add more confusion. Sometimes.
How? How can you listen? The truth is never confusion. The truth is the truth. One thing about the truth doesn't change. So when you teach them the truth and the obstacles and let them know what they expect as they growing up and the obstacle, that's why I tell my son that y'all got to step ahead of me because y'all never been arrested. Y'all don't have no record. But the only obstacle is the skin of your color, your color, your skin. But you got to know how to use that and get out there and stay ahead of the game. Don't get in them streets and get that strike on you to give them a excuse, no type of excuse to turn you away.
What now? What do you mean by in the streets? What do you mean
Like
by that?
on the street selling drugs, gang banging, whatever. You know what I mean? Because like we talking about going for jobs, right? We talking about getting
No,
in
no.
America.
Wait. Go Go back because the streets. When you said the street, because you brush, you get a broad stroke of just you with drug dealing, gangbang, like the streets. Because we're talking about a particular history, and history really deals with culture.
But
Reality
but
with the
listen, in our
okay.
culture, okay, in our culture, right? Every great leader we had, they arrested. They try to put a mark on their back, make them like they was criminal. From Martin, from Malcolm, from all of them, everybody get arrested. Fred, Huey, they arrest you. They put that mark on you to make you like a criminal. So they try to make you it look illegit. Well, he just a criminal. He been arrested for this. He been arrested for
Yeah,
that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So that's what I'm talking about. So if you trying to make a movement for your people, they're gonna try to find a way to bring you down. And so they try to put some on your back. So I tell my children how to move without getting that put on their back, so they won't have no excuses for themselves or for them people when they deny them, they have a way to get in there. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be able to understand what's going on when she says systematic racism and all that, because the first thing they look is the criminal background when you
Hmm.
go in there.
Yeah,
They're gonna ask you, you know what I mean? They're gonna ask you how you been arrested. It's just the thing they're gonna ask the young brother.
yeah. Or
So they
like,
gotta know how, you know what I mean? They gotta make sure they ain't got that on their back, getting them that excuse. Now,
right.
why is they gonna hire you now? Why is they gonna give you a chance to do this and do that?
And if they do give you a chance, they might give you a job that, you know, that you could, it doesn't really help you meet your potential in the workforce.
Exactly. Yep, they're gonna give you something. Okay, you want to be the electrician? We're gonna give you electrician labor job. You just change light bulbs. You just said to get the $35 an hour. You get the $10 an hour, but you work in the electrician field.
Yeah.
So I'm saying just to pacify you.
And I know, I understand that people could say, well, that's not just, you know, altered or only for African American people that have like criminal records. That's for anybody that has been, arrested and has a criminal record. They do that for anybody. Yeah, they do. However, I'm not gonna come out here and bring out the statistics, because if you need to know, you can Google it. African Americans, though, are have a lesser chance of giving those opportunities to work their way up in the workforce after they have received a felony. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know how this interview turned. I don't know how we being interviewed instead of him being interviewed. You ever peep that out though?
I didn't see that.
He interviewed me and you.
Oh,
He
yeah,
got me and you going through the ringers, and he ain't get interviewed. But I like that though.
I
But
felt the same thing. I was like, hold on, why am I being interviewed right
yeah, but I like that. I like that. I like that. I can interview me. But like I saying though, but like I was saying, man, from the beginning though, the truth, man, the truth don't change, man, and the truth ride by itself. And when you get speaking that truth, they gonna try to knock you down, man. They gonna do their best to knock you down. And it shows in everything we do.
So in dealing with the history, do we want to work on, and I'm not saying putting up an obstacle, but working on that which we can do, our capability.
Our capability is breaking down the obstacle, and our capability is not don't give them a reason to try to put up another obstacle. Because once you get that first obstacle, they're gonna try to give you another one. But as long as you stay ahead of the game, ahead of that curve, they can't stop you.
So so
We did,
so let me say this, Keith. What I don't know if Alicia have it. What was one of our first questions? What was one of our first questions we had for in general?
since
Do
we started this
you
interview,
yeah, do you remember? You remember our questions? We got to set, you know what I'm saying?
it was
now?
We
about
kind
Black
of,
History, but I think
but we went into, to our listening audience, we got organic with it. We went a little organic with it. But we had a couple of questions that we wanted to touch.
You got it written down?
I
No,
think I do.
I think Kiki has them.
Which
I'm ill prepared today. I ain't did a show in a while. Uh, I know the education of the day. Before we talk about education of the day, how education affect things of
And
today's
see,
nature.
see, brother, how you gonna be ill prepared and you knowing the obstacles? that we're taking on as a people. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But one thing about it, I can reflect them questions and hit you back with anything you want to know. So you just keep asking, I'm gonna keep answering them. So what? Now we talking about the education of the day. That's the first thing we're talking about.
Okay, so is the machine? I'm gonna get on Sister Carletta. I hope I'm saying your name right, cause she in there. Oh, he dropping the facts. He's getting it. When
Who
I'm gonna
dropping
have
facts? She
her.
said you dropping facts.
Yeah, she said you dropping facts.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister.
And so I was at the barber shop just yesterday. I took my son to the barber shop, and some young brothers had came in, and of course I, as an older brother, I'm trying to give more to my community and exuberate the information and knowledge that I have due to my experience. And I noticed that these young brothers, they came in and they all had on sparkling new Air Jordans. And they, there was a certain set of music playing inside the barbershop. I didn't appreciate the music, but I was there supporting lifelong friends and their black business and respecting their craft and giving my money to one of one of not just a lifelong friend, but a black business. Yet the black business did not have, in my opinion, it did not have enough respect for black people
Hmm.
due to what they were displaying, as well as what I seen was a certain culture or history, because we kind of ignore. You touched on the streets.
But
You
see,
did a
they go
broad
back.
stroke.
But they go back, right? They go back.
Well, hold on, no, wait a minute, wait a minute. And the same way that Martin and Malcolm have given their lives to, if you want to say, the fight, the revolution, the Black Power struggle, it has been many brothers like I would say myself, you, given to a culture, a street culture that I couldn't help but notice. I'm almost guaranteeing that the young brothers that I was seeing, their parents are not trying to give them a street culture, yet they are slowly living a street culture.
But they go back to the teachings, though, bro. They go back to the teachings, man. When you coming up, man. When you coming up,
What teachings?
well, the
How
teaching. I'm
can
about the teaching.
no no no
They go
no
back to, okay, okay. I'm breaking down to. They go back to
uh,
the teaching they get from their household. Okay, you don't know where their household come from. They might live in a household, right? That's teaching them something different. Might be playing rap music, playing the blues.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So as they growing up, they send their mother and father having them parties, playing a certain type of music,
But
and you
because
know now.
it's a black home.
But that's the teaching of that black hole, because we are taught. We grew up on rap. You know what I'm saying? We listen to rap. Until you got educated, you thought it was good to run around to my B H's and the N
No,
word.
my parents didn't
See,
listen to rap.
you had different teachers, but you still, you know what I'm saying? I know when I first met you, you was by when it was been almost 20 years when I first met you, and you put me on a lot of stuff that kind of led my path to this path. I can't give you that. When I first met you, you was a righteous brother. I give you that, but how many other brothers met brothers like you? So I'm saying, like I said, go back to the street code. Them young brothers on the streets, man. You on the street, they don't teach you that.
So are we actually giving without really consciously? Let's say, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna once again defer to the sister Alicia. Is it a power that's working against us, that may be, because you mentioned systematic racism? Is it a power that's working against us that may be, I don't want to, I don't want to put words in y'all mouth, but Is it something that's working against us as a people as well? Because you mentioned systematic racism, and as parents, we all parents, right?
Mhm.
Parents, there's some influences that our children are getting that we're not giving them, but it's supposedly black though.
Of,
But answer that question? 'Cause I was going to answer it.
of course, of course, there is. I mean, if we're talking this country, right? It's the whole institution is it's ingrained with racism.
Absolutely, Carletta. Absolutely. Go,
So
go.
so then, of course, um, each and every other institution within this society that ingrained as well. And so our kids are getting influence from all over the place, music, media. Who runs the music industry, and who runs the media, and what are their views? And they could be, again, if it's whoever's running the music industries and the media, if they are people that are um, have racist or biased views, they're going to pay artists to come up with particular types of messages to feed our youth. We all know that their minds are malleable. They're like that they say they have plasticity, where you can mold them the way that you want them to be molded. So that's
Yeah,
kind of what's going on. You're asking, is that getting that?
yeah, yeah. Two things. I want you to comment on it, but I see Sister Heather said no. It's the praise of them getting money, and Sister Carletta said that you could take a child to church every day until they grow up and bloop, then they become full blown gangsters. That's true, and yet to touch on the first thing, where is the proper education going from? Let's say I'm gonna touch on the money. Probably the most richest enterprise ever in existence in the black community has been probably as an individual, probably been Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam. From banks, airplane, truck line, farmland. How how does I don't know Nino Brown get how does Nino Brown get all the praise
Because
versus
because the media. She says the media put Neil Brown on. Neil Brown started a movie, a big screen. They put him on a movie, and further they tell you about the Elijah Muhammad, Muhammad and Elijah Minister Farrakhan that they racism. They speak hate. So the media got to go
or
to
censor
yeah.
or
So
censor
like
as
you
well as but what
do.
about go
Okay,
ahead.
okay, go back. We can go back way back in the 80s and 90s when Arsenio Hall put Louis Farrakhan on TV. They canceled the show after that.
But I think that's a
But
different I
no,
think
but it
hold on,
is.
let me touch on that. Let me touch on that. When you're dealing with political motivated situations, because we did that broad stroke. I don't like to do the broad stroke and just throw something out there. That got a little that was a little power play thing going on. It's the same way we made sure that the views and opinions of our speakers are not the views of the show,
But
right?
but do you remember? Do you remember? Okay, break it down. Do you remember when rap music first started taking that turn to real gangster rap? A lot of people like E40 and a lot of other people like, well, we don't live this life. We just acting or portraying things. They used to tell you that, and they before they got to going about when they got the rapping back when rap first started going, it's just entertainment, all this and that. They took that out.
Yeah.
So now the kids don't know it's entertainment. Like I said, it's all like mainstream, man. It's they know if our kids gravitate to something and they know they can keep our kids down from learning something, they promote it. Look how they put pimping out. They had Bishop Magic Wand, not to hate on them. They had him at the Grammys. He got commercials. So they telling you if you can be a pimp, you can be on TV. Well, in reality, you know you be a pimp, you ain't gonna be on TV. You know what I'm
It's
saying? I'm serious. Look at it
our,
though. He
our
he doing commercials. Not
our
to hate on his hustle.
Black culture has completely been
You see what I'm
shaped
saying?
By
they that's how they trying to picture us. So they telling these kids to do wrong, or these gangster raps, or these movies. You can do this, or you can
and
do that. It's
and
glorified to do that.
you're right about that, but it's like it's more than just the media. The education, going back to the education, what they teach our kids in school, has that not been altered by white people? What
Yeah,
they
Caucasian has something to do with that.
has the look, I mean, what hasn't been altered by a white person? Hasn't the Bible been altered by a white person? I mean, you know what
I, I ain't saying nothing about the Bible. I always get criticized when I talk about the Bible and
Now,
Christianity.
now,
So
now,
I'm leave that
now,
to y'all.
hold on, wait a minute.
I ain't saying
Now,
nothing about
now,
that.
now, at least, now we're just talking Black history here.
But I know I ain't getting that.
Now, if you scared,
Yeah, I'm scared.
there's no room for fear right now.
But when it comes,
Jesus.
when I got a lot of friends that's Christians, and they watch the show sometimes. And when I
But
say certain things, so I don't
but
like
you're the
discussing.
brother that just told me truth is truth.
I know, but I'm telling you the truth right now. I don't discuss this on mainstream because I got to break it down to my friends when I'm talking. I tend to get to going about stuff, and I get to putting that truth out there. They can't take it, so I got to be in their presence to break the truth down to them so they can understand it.
Let me ask a brave sister
Yeah,
the question
ask her. She
because
brave. Let her
let
break
me
it
ask
down.
a brave, strong sister.
Yeah.
At least during her designated month that she can speak the truth, regardless to her friends or whatever. So now, when you say you mentioned because Sister Carletta mentioned you could take a child to church, is uh, is the church proper education for Black people?
No,
no way.
Wait a minute, hold on, brother.
I'm answer that. You ask the question.
Hold
No.
on. I'm not asking you, brother. You
Oh,
had your
okay.
chance.
Okay.
No. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, and this is like I said, I'm not trying to offend anybody. This is my own personal belief. I don't think that any religion is very is the proper education per se. That is a religion is a belief and a thought process that one chooses to live by. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're whatever race you are. If you want to go to church and you want to follow that, that's fine. But that's not necessarily Black history. The only thing that's Black history about the Bible is the fact that they use that to enslave us, to enslave and that's how I look at it. Now, I'm not now any Black person that says that they are Christian I don't look. If you are a pastor, you're a Black pastor of a church. I'm not talking against that. If that helps you, then go by all means, go ahead and do all that. You know, but I wouldn't say. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you're talking about religious education, it's a little bit different because that is a belief system that you are choosing to educate yourself in and go by. That's not necessarily your culture heritage. Does that make sense?
Make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, are there some? Let's just speak on spirituality, right? Let's talk about
What's better?
spirituality. We do have me and some friends. We kind of go back and forth about this, and I just asked the question of where things come from to kind of like narrow it down. You know what I mean? We know most of us we talking Black history, which means people from the African continent. Majority of us were taken from the
But
West
I got
Africa. And
I gotta stop at one second.
wait a minute. Most of us was taken from West Africa, and many of us was not at the time. We was not Christians, or and our kidnappers. That was their religion, and that's how we kind of got into through throughout time. We kind of got into that thing, and so is it safe to say that maybe it's not working for us because it's not for us?
But
For some people,
you say hold on one second. Black history is not an African history. It's not about Africa. They don't teach our history and Black history. They teach African American history. in Black history. It's about start from slavery and the people that came up from slavery and broke these barriers over here. They don't teach you about the dynasties and all that in Egypt and Kemet. They don't teach you that. That's Black history. They don't teach you that. They
Mm,
teach you African American history. There's things that happen on this continent. So you
right.
can't put Black history with Africa, brother. That's what I'm
Right.
trying to say. Because they don't teach that in school.
But
Okay.
They don't teach that. They don't teach that nowhere.
So I'm gonna add. This is a brother in here, brother James. How you doing, brother James? Thank you for watching us. He mentioned that it was a lot already here. A lot of people going into this indigenous thing, this aboriginal thing, right? They're going into, going into that type of history. What do you is that Black history? Because you mentioned, do we start at that point where, uh, okay, you got kidnapped, we let you niggas go, and here come your history.
so
Do
this
do
this I think this is something that everyone should. People read the Bible, the Bible way too little, and the Bible is full of metaphors. And I think that there was a part in our Black American history where the Bible was taken very literally, and it was used to designate our fate in this culture or in this nation, like us to enslave our ancestors. You see what I'm saying? It's like, and I think that when, like I said, with religion, when it comes with belief, there's so much um, room for perspective. And to when you read the Bible, it's to you personally. So to use that as a map to map out, I should I follow this to because is this going to speak true to my race or not? That's just so hard to say. If you're someone that reads the Bible and takes it literal, well, yeah, I'm going to question something your
They
perspective.
won't, but see what I'm saying though. So when you you said, see, African American history, Black history is not about. Well, so we got to understand, Black history is not about our culture. It's about the culture of American, the Africans in America, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So why not teach our culture like the Jews and everybody else teach their culture where they come from,
But you talk
the
about
original?
as far as African culture in America.
Yeah, our
Okay,
culture. No, not America. What
part of that was
our original culture, where we really come from.
I think partly because of that, Kiki, we don't know where we come from. Africa is huge. How are we supposed to teach our African history
Okay, okay,
when
okay.
Africa?
When the slave first started, they came from the north and southwest maximum. That was what Africa really was called. That
Right.
was right there, and all that was the Moroccan Empire when they
So
first slavery first started.
you're
So
talking teach about the Moroccan Empire.
yeah, so that where I get my teaching from, Moore Science Temple of America. So that where the slavery first started. That where, if correct me if I'm wrong, brother Law. 'Cause I want because that's what my teaching. So that's where we come from. And Africa is a continent. That's why I said they call you African American. They call you two continents.
Right.
So how can you be African? No, I'm serious. You're African and you're American. Why you can't be Nigerian American, Uganda? You know what I'm saying? So you just can't. You hit it
Just,
on the head when you said Africa's a big continent. So they just gave you a whole continent and
well,
you
the
just ride with it.
generic term. It's a generic term, a blanket term, because they don't know where you
No,
came.
no,
You know,
it's a term they want. It's a term they're gonna keep giving you because they know they can name us.
I got a question because you
Man, you
mentioned
got all
more.
these questions. We supposed to be asking you
Hold on,
questions.
hold on. I got it. Your stuff ain't right. I had to take control. You
Check,
didn't have your stuff right. So you mentioned the Moore Science Temple of America.
what is that?
Yes, sir.
More science in America started by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He got his teaching from. He got his teach. Dang. He got his teaching. Huh? I ain't even go. No, you ain't even set me up. No, I know what you're doing. I peeped you out. I peeped you. Ah, no, you gonna answer your own question.
Yeah, well, because you said words like you mentioned a Mexim and you mentioned Moroccan Empire,
Okay,
and and and
I know
and
you. I know where you was going. I caught you.
and so because we got brother James on here, he mentioned Black history starts here, and African
Yeah.
history begins 5,000 years ago. But then I believe, to my knowledge, I don't know, I read a little bit, and he said that he mentioned some things like a Maxim and the Moroccan Empire. And so you mentioned Moorish Science Temple of America. So if we're not African American, because I would beg to differ to say, he said Black history starts here. African history begins 5,000 years ago. Now let
Yeah,
me say
that's
this.
true.
If you want to place me as a continent, I am African American or an American African. Now, when if 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 I went through a situation and then I came out from under it, I'm still me. I just went through the situation and came out from under it. Now, whether that be I'm Nigerian, if you could learn, because we talk about proper education, if we could learn how to get the answers to the questions that we have, that's very attainable. So let's just say I'm a Nigerian American,
Mhm.
and
So I knew
then
where
I
you was
do,
going already, though.
and so then I do a little research on some things about Nigeria and how the slave trade was affected within Nigeria, who did some things, and how I got over here, and what I started doing. My history necessarily does not start here. It does not start here. Now, when you use the term black, because we weren't always called black for whatever reason, I don't know. The brothers from the Moore Science Simple America, he could touch on that. I know brothers in the Moore Science Simple America have a lot of knowledge on that. And the brother just said a native Afro American. He said stated we should be now. I don't know why Dr. Claude, like Jesse Jackson, made us African Americans. Why Dr. Claude Anderson just can say we native Afro Americans, but I'm addressing a person in the thing. And
You gotta read the disclaimer.
man, the disclaimers got come up.
You gotta
The,
read the
the,
disclaimer, man. Every 30
man,
minutes.
where is it? It
You
came up
gotta
last time.
go back through the comments.
Okay, I got you.
It's in the comments. I can't get to the
Y'all
comments.
got me.
He
Right,
can only
got
do
me working.
it on the host.
Okay.
Oh,
This is the Conscious Community Connections, where we keep the community connected. This is WRFU 104.5 FM Urbana Champaign. Views of those of the speakers are not intended to represent WRFU, UCIMC, or Urbana Socialist Forum, right? So back to the, let me go back down because they're chiming in good. But you mentioned Maxim. Why did you use that word?
because that was the original name of Africa.
Heaven
It's,
said, I got it. I got
no,
it.
I had I knew, but see, I had to stop myself because I knew what you was doing when you got to talk about the Moore Science Temple. So I stopped myself 'cause I knew what you was doing. But
Well,
that
we
is the
do want to
original.
talk about proper education.
Yeah. So
I think that is, in my opinion, I don't know because Alicia, she's been dropping it. I don't know. She might can answer the question because he has scared that term of Maxim. What do you mean by that? I've never heard that.
you never heard that. Maxima is the original name of Africa, man. The original continent of Africa. That Africa come from Maxima. Africa is came from what is it? Africano would do what they name they come from? They named them after a European, whatever. You know the history. You know it better than me, man. You look. Come on, we ain't gonna play these games on here, man. Break it.
Anyway,
So you know the history, the
I
original
mean,
name of
I
Africa.
just don't want to be because people are chiming in. We got some native African Europeans, we got native Afro American. Somebody says, and Brother James, let me give Brother James a shout out. He says, native Afro American separate us from other folks coming in from American countries trying to claim descendants of slave status.
Hmm.
If let me say this, and then we touch on it. I want to hear what Alicia has to say. If I take a Florida orange and bring it to Illinois, is it still a Florida orange?
If
Yes, it came from Florida.
Man,
It originated from Florida. Yes, the origins are from Florida.
I mean, they don't grow oranges here, do
Tell him. Get him, Alicia. He trying to tell us something today. He don't know how this.
um, well, the reason why I asked that is because also because I don't know why he just don't want to bring the heat because we got people watching, bro.
Man, I'm chilling today,
That
man.
that they.
but this is
I
your.
mean,
Oh,
It ain't about me today. You probably put it on
you,
me today. This
brother,
supposed to be
you
your
ain't
show
got
today.
no.
you ain't got your stuff together, brother. I'm
All right,
hosting.
that's good. That's good though. You right. I'm ill prepared today.
Yeah, right. As what Brother James say, Alkebu land was another name for Africa. Yes, that's true.
They
Why
got
ain't
the
we call
Tigers. They got I know Brother James got a Tiger. Tiger needs to be here.
so is we Alkubilanian,
If
Brother James?
if that's the original name, yes. Okay, let me ask you a question, right? Since you asking all the questions. First they call it Negroes, right? That's what they call us first. Then they said we was colored, right? Then they said African American. So what are we? Are we Negroes?
According to what though?
According to the land
Because
we
some
own.
people there was a time when I called myself a vice lord.
So are you still a vice lord?
You know, I can't never deny what I had been. So in a sense, of course I am. If somebody had seen me and said, "Yeah, he was a vice lord,"
Yeah.
right? And so, but what do you mean by that? You said they called us Negro, they called us colored, now they call us African American. Isn't that just pretty much on a that's the document thing?
So what I'm trying to get you saying, so you saying how can we not be from a Maxima to Africa? Then what you say, Tiger said? So I can't see the comments, so I don't know what he said. So
He said Alkebalan was another name for Africa.
so that's our originally said. Then you go by your ancestors, right?
So now, what history we talk about? Are we gonna stay in America, or we gonna broaden the?
But see, right now, see, if we talking about Black history, we talking about American Black history. We not Brown and Rising. If we talking about
Is
Black
it
history,
is that important? Isn't our history
our
on this
history is very
continent just as important as whether
yes,
it was Timbuktu, whether it was
yeah, yes.
Mali,
But
whether it was
but
Egypt, whether it was
but
Songhai?
I think we should teach how we got into this land and where we came from to where we trying to get where we came from, where we at, and where we going to.
Now,
So all
once
that stuff.
again, let me say this because Alicia didn't, she just spit her short one. Like they don't make oranges in Illinois. Okay, I give you that. So, so this tiger again talking
That's what I
about
told you, Tiger
the
man.
name Africa breaks down to enter the spiritual land of Ra land Kot. Now, let me ask you a question, brother Tiger, since you're sitting here on my feed.
Tiger tough, man. You can mess with Tiger.
What does that matter? What does that matter to me, brother? You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here looking at it. Remember Kiwan, no more stolen lives. I got to look at brothers. I live on
My
Sixth
phone,
and
my
Bradley.
phone finna die. I
I
got
live on
you.
Sixth and Bradley. What good is Africa? All that sunshine. What is that? He said it break down to something. Spiritual land, end of the Ra. I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get the next Jordans that come out too.
My phone.
Well, don't come over here.
What and the culture, because we talk about proper education. Kiki, he done messed up the questionnaire.
I messed the questionnaire, bro. You ain't let
He
me ask no
said
questions.
he
You talk over
said
the whole show. That's what I like.
Brother Tiger said the foundation. I think let me ask this question. I'll ask Alicia this question. Somebody asked a question on social media. Your children, if one attribute you could give to your children, what would that attribute be? And how the importance of Black history? What would that attribute? What kind of
You got
attribute
charges, brother?
do you think that is?
You got charges?
I don't never bring my
Well,
charger.
before I ask, and why don't you answer that question?
Tell them again.
You should answer that question first.
That what can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
What was
Answer
what was the
your
question?
answer
What
your
what what was the question?
what's your question?
What did I ask? What I know Heather. Remember, I go to Heather. What did I just ask her, Heather?
Being ill prepared.
Tell them
Yeah,
again.
I got my notes, y'all. I ain't that ill prepared. I believe I just asked you pertaining to what was the subject matter as far as the
My
importance
phone
of
froze.
how do we make it important?
Yeah,
How
you
do
were
we make Black history important?
yeah, and you were asking about what the um,
About
important
what?
one important attribute you want to teach your child pertaining to Black history, right?
Yeah, the social media. I commented on it. A lot of people had a lot of things to say. I put desire. You have to give them the desire. And how do you give them the desire? You obviously have to show. And what do I mean by show? Because early on, Sister Carletta talked about, you could raise a child a certain way and then they become a gangster, so to speak. It's like a pet bulldog, right? Anybody deal with dogs? The pet bulldog is one of the most hard-headedest dogs to train.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do it, I don't liken our children unto pet bulldogs in a sense. So one of the things that you have to do with a pet bull, you have to constantly, if you want to teach them to sit, you got to constantly sometimes touch that butt. Sit, sit until they start doing it on our own. Our children, I think the desire you have to constantly show them and verbalize to them the who, what, where's, and why's. So until their desire comes. Now, Kiki touched on music earlier, and I never listened to any music that I'm not willing to let my today, they're 13 today, my 13-year-old sons listen to. And so then one time I was driving and some music starts coming from the back seat, and it's my son listening to his music on the phone. And I'm like, what? But it was one of he had bought the album on his own. to an artist that I always play. You know what I mean? And so until he's pretty much, we say showing them the way, but sometimes we don't know how. Even as parents, there's no proper manual how to parent. You
Right.
know, and so desire. That's my answer to the question. Desire, giving them the desire, and that comes in showing them how to do it too.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, yeah. And and let's just say because we still got babies, right? We got babies. You said your daughter's about to graduate high school. Always come up with things where you have the opportunity to teach and them to learn. With my sons, I ask questions like, "Who do you relate to?"
Hmm.
or Riley. I'm always trying to see where their head is so that I can counter, because I've been through the system. Kee-Kee talked about the system earlier. You talked about systematic racism. Talked about the job. And see, we've been through these things. We have to be, of course, I'm a martial artist as well. So I just don't have the luxury to just train, learn. I have to learn ways to convey the message to my students as well.
Hmm.
And so as a original man in North America, I know the system works, it works a certain way. So I'm always trying to figure out, okay, that was an obstacle for me. That kind of bothered me. How can I make sure, how did I handle it the second or third time? How can I make sure that my babies uh, can see it ahead of time and not go through it as rough as I did or go through it smoother than I did and be prepared for it, things of that nature to add on to the desire. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can ask questions from here too, brother. You can just chime in. We can hear you.
Hmm. Yes. Kiki, where are you at?
He's saying play. He right there.
You want to come over here? No. Well, what do you think about that?
Hey, run me away from you.
Who do you think about
What do you say?
what talking about? You stop.
What's one of the attributes containing to the black history? What's one of the attributes that you would want to leave your children to have?
I agree with you on desire. You gotta have desire. You gotta fight. And so I get my children to fight for the truth, fight to learn, fight to
So
understand everything.
is that your Judas and the Black Messiah talking, or you?
No, seriously, I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up like that, knowing about my history.
How do we fight? That's a question. Let's touch on that. How do you fight?
You fight by educating yourself to know your enemy and know you fight on educating yourself and learning the system and learning what the system trying to do to you and what you're dealing with because I see my only got I can't you educate yourself because like it's a cold game that we try to get involved in and we really don't know too much about. A lot of people try to get involved like with politics, like trying to be a politician or something like that. If you don't educate yourself know about politicians and you just try to be a politician, one day you're gonna lose. So that's that fight got to come in and that desire to learn, the
Right.
education to learn
Okay.
about
Okay.
opponents.
Okay. We're gonna take a couple questions because we about to wrap it up. We about to wrap it up. We got people in the group chat here. People in the group chat. Any questions before we cut out? I want to apologize. You know, we wasn't structured. I had to take over the show. So
Oh,
He planned that anyway.
facts.
I think you ain't have to plan that. That's why
That's
y'all want
not
me to
just
be on
what
the show.
happened at the beginning.
no, I'm telling you, he got about like 10 questions he was supposed to ask.
Yeah, he did. He did. He had a bunch of
You,
questions.
you
I
didn't
see
get that?
Tiger still in there. You got any questions, brother Tiger? Because Sister Heather, I see she's still in there.
You didn't
Any
give me
questions?
that
Any
no.
questions for the panel during this Black History Month? What are you reading for Black History Month, Alicia?
Who am I reading?
Yes. What are you and your daughter reading together for Black History Month?
Well, I actually just finally finished the book. Finally finished the Power book. That took me forever to finish that book.
Yeah.
Just
Claude Anderson.
because I just time
Or
is
is that
always
Amos
limited, so
Wilson?
I can just read what I can. But actually, I was just talking the other day with my daughter about trying to pick out a book to read with her. That's interesting that you just asked me. And we haven't really even thought about. Um, we haven't came up with a conclusion about like what book to read. I just kind of left it up to her. So
Right. Okay.
that's
How,
I'm not so right now.
right.
No,
How
I'm
about
not
you,
ready.
brother Kiki? What are you reading right now?
I'm not reading nothing right now, brother. I just got
Yeah,
done reading.
I figured, you know what I'm saying? And see, this is one of the things, brother Tiger, you say, how do we build for the future? Hold ourselves accountable. We got to hold ourselves accountable. That's one. Because so one of the questions is, but don't worry about it, brother. I'm gonna get you a book to read.
Give me a book to read. I'd like to
And
know.
ain't you finished, man?
I told I was done with that book. You didn't want the book back, remember?
Man, I'm like Malcolm. I send the pipe squad out for my books now, brother.
Did I tell you? Hey, did I call you about
That would be nice.
done with
Yeah.
the book?
What?
Then I call you 2 weeks ago till I was done with the book.
I
You
don't
remember?
know about that. I didn't get that
But
call.
that's
Uh,
that's
brother Tiger, how do we build for the future? I know you've read Art of War.
who
I'm
ain't read who ain't
not
read
even
that?
gonna. No, we talk about brother Tiger. You had your chance. So I'm gonna refer to the Art of War. The the sure way to lose is to not know yourself or know your enemy. The half chance to win is to know yourself. To win 100% of the time is to know your enemy and know yourself. That's my answer to
But
that.
I said that an hour ago.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute.
No, don't hold up. Did I say
The,
that an
the,
hour?
the content, you didn't put it in that content, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I studied Brother Malcolm, so he was good with words. Alicia, that's a question to you. Now it's going to the panel. What do you say? How do we build for the future?
I mean, I agree with what you said. I think that education is key, and you're right about that. Like, you got to know yourself and your enemy. So, no, I agree. If you cannot, if you want to obtain any type of information or education on who you are, or your race, or any type of like culture or religion, you kind of have to know why you're invested in it. And that investment, in order for you to know why you're invested, you have to know a little bit of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, I agree with you. Yeah, if we want to build for the future, and if we want to educate our youth, we have to maybe start there, help them figure out who they are, and maybe it's deeper than race. Maybe you need to figure out a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit deeper than that.
We need to go to a little spirituality, a little,
Well, maybe sports is not
right.
this. It's like just understanding, helping people understand who they are individually.
That's true too, and that makes a big difference. Not we don't mean under the Capricorn or Scorpion
Right?
or
No.
Aries. No.
Yeah. Not
Well,
not about that.
what do you say, Kiki? What is before we go to Sister Heather's question? How do we build for the future?
Man, you hit it on the nail, man. You gotta know what you're fighting against. You gotta educate yourself, man. We gotta educate our people. And you gotta educate everybody on everything, man. And get rid of this separatist attitude that we got. You got to be belong to certain groups or some certain cultures to know to learn. You should educate yourself on all cultures. You should want
This
to know
is
about
true.
you should want to know about all people so you know what you're dealing with. If you don't know what you're dealing with, how you not gonna know to defeat your enemy, or how you gonna know to go in with a game plan to try to educate yourself? You know what I'm saying? So you
Yeah.
gotta know what you're dealing with.
So segue right into the next question. How should we celebrate our ancestors and our culture more than once a year?
Man, that's ed, ed, education, educate, man. You gotta talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, people do shows, on your shows you got, you talk about it. You put something up every day, like you put like a footnote every day. This will happen this time of the year, coming from such 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 such. This day such such did this. This day such, you know what I mean? Every day you should put something out about our history, about our ancestors, where we came from. That's how you celebrate it. You get the knowledge to people every day. You just give it to them. Just keep giving it to them. Because every day you can tell you something about that continent we came from, and every day you can learn about people that did stuff over here to break the chains that we're going through now. So you got to break stuff down every day and put a piece of history every day. The importance of history.
Okay, okay. Alicia, what do you?
I agree.
Oh,
I agree.
I agree. We gotta um more than once a year. I think, Sister Heather, we have to have the same attitude we have with the Legion, the same attitude that we have with birthdays, the same attitude that we have with the American holidays and celebrations, to make it our own. An example, birthday. If nobody celebrate that day, I will be celebrating that day. I will not be going to work. I will not be catering to other people because that's my universal fingerprint. And so it may even be, which today is Savior's Day, the birthday of the creator and founder of the Nation of Islam. And so the same way, we give thanks to one who cared enough about us, regardless to any other mystical history. He cared enough about us to say, I'm going to try to make you be better than yourself. So that's the way that we celebrate it. We have the same attitude, the same energy that we have with when the new when a new drink come out, when a new tennis shoe come out, when a new TV show come out. We celebrate those premieres of our ancestors and our people, and that is our culture. Understanding it's our culture because our culture was taken away, it was lost, and we should go to all those stop points. I teach my children that whether it is Allah the Father, Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I teach them that those are your friends. I said, we're not knocking nobody else's friends, but those are your friends because those are the people that we know for certainty spent their life trying to improve us. So the answer to that question is have the same energy I have when I'm going to try to beat the rush at the mall to get that new whatever I'm trying to get. So it's 8:03. We're 3 minutes over, but I'm gonna let the real host. I'm gonna let the real host step in here real quick, and until the next time, hopefully, brother Kee-Kee will have his stuff right. We will break this awful spell of our people not being prepared.
Just wait.
All right. Keep talking about, I'm off my game.
I appreciate you being here. It was really
I
good.
appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, really good conversation. Really good. Really thought provoking and
Where was
everything.
Heather? Heather was supposed to be here. Tell her.
Next time, he's requesting that Heather be here next time.
Yeah, she take my spot.
No, no, you keep on. You keep on. So thank you all. I really appreciate everybody coming in and listening and commenting. That was great. Again, this is Conscious Community Connections, where we keep the community connected. This is WRFU 104.5 FM, Urbana Champaign. Views of those of the speakers and not intended to represent WRFU, UC, IMC, or Urbana Socialist Forum. Thank you all very much for joining us this evening, and we will see you guys next Friday. Good night.